Welcome to Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In, where automation professionals can stay in touch with the latest enhancements in sensing, data communication, and control.
Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. And today I have the pleasure of again welcoming Eduardo Bustillos. Hello, Eduardo.
Hi, Helga. Thanks for having me on today. I've got a super exciting one today.
Yeah, I know you do. I just want to let everybody know who's listening. You're the product manager for our electromagnetic sensors, which means inductive, capacitive,
and magnetic, anything that revolves around proximity sensors with that type of technology.
Excellent. And that gets us right into the topic. Today, you did bring a rather novel inductive sensor. What is it?
Today, we're going to be talking about our high temperature inductive prox sensor with a remote amplifier.
All right. Now, please tell us, what does high temperature mean? 100 degrees, 110, 150?
No, we're talking 250 degrees Celsius. That's pretty steamy.
Ouch.
That's over, I want to say over 480 Fahrenheit. It's hot.
Yeah, that is a nasty, nasty environment. Very, very demanding. Now, Eduardo, we have had a product for that type of temperature before, and I'm sure when our engineers decided to redo it, they had some major improvements that they wanted to implement. Can you tell us what we did and why we did that? What are the improvements?
Right. So we did have an older version of the sensor, another inductive sensor with a remote amplifier. And that sensor is tried and true. It was designed to go in the same exact temperature and the same exact applications. We've got lots of improvements in this new one.
For instance?
A lot of those improvements revolve around the materials of this new version. For example, this new version has a plastic sensing head, while the old one had a ceramic head. And while at first, ceramic, of course, is pretty high temp resistant, but this new sensing head, it has much better IP protection while also having the same temperature resistance as the ceramic head.
Yeah, we're using, if I remember correctly, we're using a material that we've used for many, many years for these types of applications called PEAK. It's an extremely good material. And I tell you what, Eduardo, if you don't know better and you touch it, you might as well think it's ceramic.
Yeah, it's dense. It's heavy. It has it has almost like when you touch it, it kind of has like the little clinking noise, almost like when you hold something glass or ceramic.
Yeah. No, it's a great material. Good. So that's the material side, but that can't be it.
Oh no, it doesn't stop there. No. This new version, it also has a different cable. The old version had a braided metal sleeved cable, and that works great. But now we have a upgraded version of the cable that can withstand much, much tighter turns, much, much smaller bends compared to the old one. The cable could not really withstand much kinking or bending at all. It had to have pretty large bends, but this new one, tight bends, no problem at all for routing the cable.
So much simpler during installation. And I think we can say one thing straight away. A sensor in a 250 degree Celsius environment will have to be swapped out eventually.
Correct. Yeah.
So handling is a very, very important aspect of these types of products.
That's right. I mean, that type of environment, it's hard for anything to survive in that type of environment, especially something electronic and a sensitive device like a proximity sensor.
So what else did we do to improve handling of the product? In both cases, in the initial install situation or even when the sensor head needs to be replaced.
Right. So like you were saying, Helga, the sensor head in this type of environment, the sensor is going to need to be replaced at some point. And one of the biggest changes that we've made with this newer version is you can actually replace the sensor head without needing to go through the same maintenance that you would have to with the old version. because this new version has a removable sensor head with a specialized quick disconnect that can withstand these high temperatures. So maintenance on this newer version, it can be done much, much faster compared to the old version, where you had to unroute a cable. You would have to, well, first you'd have to wait for whatever installation this was in to cool down. Then the maintenance personnel would have to take all the wire out, all the cable out, and that could be 60 feet. But on this new version with the removable sensor head, it can be done in a few minutes with no tools really. It's a simple circular quick disconnect, and being able to replace just the sensor head alone, it will save so much time for those instances that the sensor head will need to be replaced.
Yeah. But there's even more, and the more is linked to the fact that this is the first and the only high temperature inductive sensor with IO link. There's something on the IO link side that makes this even more economical and will ultimately increase the uptime of a line.
Absolutely. I mean, whenever you have any product with IO link, you get so much more information from the product. But this one in particular, with IO link, you get so many. With this one in particular, you get so much information regarding maintenance and monitoring. Through IO link, you can keep track of how long the sensor's been operating in hours. You can keep track of how many times the sensor has switched. It'll count how many switching cycles it's gone through. And also it can tell you if the sensor head is starting to go bad. The amplifier, it actually monitors the health and the status of the sensor head. And once the sensor head starts to experience either some damage, or once it's nearing the point that it needs to be replaced, due to the large, heavy temperature swings, the amplifier will tell you, hey, this sensor head is going bad. It needs to be replaced soon. And that is invaluable when trying to maintain these very harsh machines.
So that means really, A, we have a much better idea when something needs to be replaced, and B, when it needs to be replaced, it's going to be done quickly. Two important factors. Talk to me about the applications. Where do you see this product being used?
So right away, the main application for this is going to be different kinds of ovens. So, for example, a paint curing oven used in many industries, but particularly automotive, for the auto bodies and panels. Another good application is different kinds of drying ovens or drying applications where you need that high temperature, constant hot air being used to dry whatever material or process that needs drying, or any type of autoclave or sterilization applications that use high temperature to sterilize any particular part.
Yeah. Very good, Eduardo. I think we've come to a point where we should wrap up. And as always, I'll try to summarize what I've learned today. And that gives you a chance to think about your 5-word statement that really summarizes and characterizes our conversation. So let me give this a try. Eduardo, you brought us the new F135 high temperature IO link inductive sensor. And a couple of the main features are the fact that we have now a connectorized remote head, which makes the replacement of the head, which will happen. After all, we're talking about a horribly high temperature of 250 degrees in the environment, makes it so much faster. Now, to make it even better for the operators, the IO Link interface has a number of functionalities, number of features that will allow a user to identify if the product should be replaced during the next break. We have operating hours, we have various counters, and there is even a monitoring functionality in the amplifier that looks at certain electrical characteristics of the head, and it determines from those if the sensor starts to go in the wrong direction. Applications are certainly anything that is hot, paint, drying oven. You mentioned autoclaves for sterilization processes. So the type of things that come to mind are automotive, truck manufacturing, maybe mobile equipment manufacturing, wherever there's paint involved, paint or some type of a paint system, but also slurries for ceramic production that need to be dried out in hot environment, and autoclave sterilization that could be in the medical field. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Helge.
All right, so now it's your turn again. What is your 5-word statement?
Made for the most extreme. This is the highest temperature rated IO-Link proc sensor on the market.
Yeah, very good. The most extreme. 250C, high humidity, we can deal with it.
No problem.
Great. Eduardo, hey, thank you very much for the conversation today. And as always, we invite our listeners, if they have questions, they can certainly reach out to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today, Helge.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. Please subscribe to our channel and never miss hearing about the latest innovations in factory automation.